Hey guys, this is Frozen Thing Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today I'll be doing a movie review on John Wick Chapter 4. So, John Wick Chapter 4 is the latest installment in the John Wick franchise that came out very recently, and is directed once again by Chad Stahelski and stars Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Lawrence Fishburne, Ian McShane, Clancy Brown, Lance Reddick, rest in peace to him. Hiroyuki Sanda, Sawayama, etc. Basically, the plot for his movie. Well, to be honest, guys, I don't really know how to properly explain the plot because if I actually tell you guys the actual plot for his movie, I'm gonna be ending up spoiling things. Yeah, so I don't know how to explain the plot without giving away spoilers. But the best back can summarize the plot. Basically, John Wick is still on the run from the high table. It's a direct follow up to chapter three. Yeah, like what I said, he's still on the run, and he's been betrayed by Winston and and Barra King. Instantly they do get the, John Wick does get along with Winston and Barra King like later on eventually in the film. But yeah, while John Wick is on the run, John Wick is still on the run from the high table. And um, he's able to uncover a path to defeating the high table. And John Wick wants to earn his freedom, but he must pretty much defeat the high table first. So that's how I can explain without spoiling anything. So John Wick Chapter 4 is essentially the concluding chapter to the John Wick franchise. There was initially supposed to be a John Wick 5 plan, but based on the ending of this film, I don't think that John Wick Chapter 5 will actually happen. Yeah. So if you've seen my review of the first three John Wick films, you'll probably know how much I've consistently been giving them all 10 out of 10. And like it's one of those rare trilogies that I've given that a straight every single film is a straight down 10 out of 10. Not only that, but each new installment in this franchise just keeps getting better and better. Another movie franchise I've given like all three of movie trilogy I've given all 10 out of 10s to is How to Train Dragon. But to be honest, guys, well, I wouldn't say it gets better because I think the third because How to Train Dragon 3 was not as good as the second film in my opinion. But I think yeah, I'm sure you know what I mean by that. But this Dominic franchise, they know how to just like they know how to make their movies step up from the last film. And of course, well, going into chapter 4, I predicted that this is going to be the best in the franchise. Despite I think John Wick Chapter 3 has the better trailer, I stand by that. I think Chapter 4, you could clearly see the potential that this is having. And I really loved how I love how this movie has a near 3 hour runtime. I know some people are concerned by that. Some people even criticize this for having like a near 3 hour runtime. But let's be real here. Some people are just biased against 3 hour movies. Like they can't stand it. Every movie needs to be shorter than near 3 hours. But yeah, well, I don't know what else to say about my intro. So yeah, oh yeah, and also not to mention, this movie has gotten really rave reviews. Yeah, this movie, is one of the most critically raved action movies ever made. Period. I mean, just when you thought it couldn't get even more rave than this, yeah, Chapter 4 literally is almost on par with Mission Impossible Fallout as one of the most raved action movies of all time. Period. And of course, well, I was hyped for this. But after seeing John Wick Chapter 4 in theaters today, I gotta tell you all right now, this movie is a masterpiece. Yep, this movie is everything I wanted it to be and more. Yep, and all the praise that this movie has been getting it is well deserved, and especially after John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, ended up being a divisive movie. Still overall critically raved as it has an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, and most people I know really like it. But I feel like a handful of people who say that John Wick Chapter 3 is overrated, it's not that good, and it's the worst in the franchise. Thankfully, like this movie is unanimously loved, yeah, by everyone, and majority agrees that this is the best John Wick movie because it truly is. the best John Wick movie. I think this movie is perfect. It's incredible in every single way possible. Now, one thing I wouldn't really agree with the majority on is that they call this the best movie of 2023 thus far, and say that's not even close. Well, to be honest, guys, I don't think it's the best movie of 2023 thus far. That still goes to Scream 6, and yeah, the superhero hate base will hate me for this, but I prefer Shazam: Fear of the Gods and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania over this. Yep, there I said it. I know, yeah. Superhero haters will get mad at me, but I don't care. I will defend that superhero movie till the day I die. But Jumping Chapter 4 is definitely right up there. I would probably put this above Creed 3. Yes, this would probably be my number 4, my fourth favorite in the franchise. Maybe later on, this could like actually get better, and I could like put this higher up on the list. But no, it's not on the top dethrone Scream 6 because Scream 6 is just too good. But I mean, I loved every single thing about John Wick Chapter 4. There is, this movie is 3 hours long, it felt like time like flew by really fast. Um, um, my watch does have an alarm, so every hour, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. Every hour, it's going to like beep. And then but then when it beeped at 5 o'clock, I was like, really? What really that fast? Wow, really that already there? But yeah, I was surprised to see how quick it was because this movie, I mean, the near 3 hour runtime does justify because this movie is able to combine action scenes with plot. This movie only has 3 action sequences. Now don't get put off by this. Now don't no 3 action scenes that doesn't mean it's not enough. I mean, all the 3 action scenes in this movie are literally just like 30 minutes to an hour long. So they pretty much fill in the runtime. If this movie didn't have a near 3 hour runtime, all these 3 movies would pretty much squeeze in tight in a shorter runtime, and it would still be considered a non-stop action film. But this one I wouldn't really consider it non-stop because there are times when the action does stop and we get to see some storytelling. And if you think that John Wick Chapter 2 and 3 are have an issue with not having more action and storytelling and a lack of story, well, this movie balances both action and story together. Yes, there is an actual plot twist. Even though I said I can't really summarize it. It's because I think this plot is just so complex. It's so narratively rich. It's so smart, and yes, it does feel like a continuation because it's just John Wick trying to take the high table and want his feet up. There's a lot more to this plot, and this movie and this plot also has emotion as well. And as a conclusion to a John Wick franchise, it feels satisfying, and the ending does feel earned, and feels justified. I don't know. The ending could have divided people. I mean, if I watched this first before everyone else, I could have warned people that the ending might divide. Grace Randolph despite the ending, but she hates the film, and Grace Randolph is not really a critic to trust. I'm not a fan first, so yeah. But yeah, everyone I know says that this ending is actually really satisfying, and I'm glad that people didn't. Excuse me. I'm glad that people didn't complain about why they do this, why they go for this, what were they thinking here. I definitely won't spoil what happened in the end, but I will say that it was unexpected, it was bold, and you'll definitely be shocked by that ending. The rest of the movie still feels as satisfying as ever. The action scenes in this movie, oh my gosh. I mean, now, I will say John Wick Chapters, I will say I don't think this is the most action packed in the franchise. I think the last film has some more action, I think has more action scenes. But this one has pretty much all of them are pretty much longer than any the action scenes in the previous film, and it almost feels like it's more. But I counted and it was 3, but they're all they feel so massive in scale. They feel so large in scale. They all feel so just simply epic in scale, and it'll literally blow your mind and leave you on the edge of your seat. My favorite action scene personally is Osaka hotel action scene. With the Japanese people, like pretty much a Bullet Train guy. Yes, I refer to him as Bullet Train guy because he was one of my favorite characters in Bullet Train. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. There's only one character in this film. But aside from like that guy, we also got who I personally consider the standout in this movie. Yeah, Akira, played by Japanese actress Rina Sawayama. Yeah, um, yeah, sure. The Johnny franchise doesn't really have a lot of female characters, and I'm fine with that. Even though I may sound like the type of person who would pretty much criticize this franchise for having a lack of women, but I'm not gonna be that type of person. But when we do get an actual strong female characters, they do it really well. I praised Sophia from the first. In my review of John Wick Chapter 3, I praise Sophia enough, and I even went as far as saying that is Berry's best performance. But if you thought the Halle Berry was as badass, is badass and has a lot of is really strong. Oh boy, wait till you see Akira in this. Yeah, Akira put Sophia into shame. I think she is the best character in the entire John Wick franchise, right on par with John Wick himself. Yeah, what I love about Akira is that she's just simply a badass. She has like some of the coolest moves I've ever seen, and especially like when this guy was this sumo guy was trying to climb up the stairs. Akira literally like hopped on this guy's back and just stabbed him like left with both swords, left and right, while he is climbing the stairs. And then once this henchman like got up the stairs, she like stabbed him with both swords. I think you've seen that film, that scene in the trailer. Oh boy, it sounds glorious, as you saw in that trailer. And not only that, but Akira actually has an arc. Yeah, sure. She doesn't get a lot of screen time. She only gets like a total of approximately 20 minutes of screen time. But every screen time she has just feels earned, and you really want to see more of her. Like she does have an arc, and I think a spin-off with her character should definitely be made. Should definitely be made. And by the way, yes, there are John Wick spin-offs coming. I'll talk about that towards the end of the review. But we got a lot more to talk about. And speaking of characters standout, let me just say right now that I think this movie has the best supporting cast ensemble in the entire John Wick franchise. Normally, when it comes to these John Wick movies, you normally get the major ones. Specifically, Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane were the only ones, the only John Wick characters who were in all of the John Wick franchises. But Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, and Lance Reddick were in all of them. And by the way, rest in peace to Lance Reddick. They all were in the film, but every John Wick movie, there would usually be a different cast ensemble. And let me just say this right now that this movie has the best of the cast ensembles. You got Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Scott Adkins, which I forgot to mention when I said a list of actor names. I think Hiroyuki Sanda. You had so many great popular actors, and every single supporting characters who are important, and sometimes even not important. They all have a purpose in this movie. Not a single character gets left behind. Donnie Yen's character has become the best. Has become a fan favorite John Wick character, and I can totally see why. Because I absolutely love Donnie Yen. I loved him in this. I think Donnie Yen gives his best performance. He plays a blind person in this movie, and I think he nailed it so well, playing the blind person. It just feels like he's actually blind. That's pretty much the problem with certain actors who play disabled characters. They really screwed up, and they don't seem to understand the disability, and don't seem to act like it. For example, a normal actor plays an actor who isn't autistic plays an autistic character and literally doesn't understand what makes the character autistic. I'm looking at you, Sia, by the way. Oh yeah. Even if I don't have autism, I have ADHD. By the way, they're both different. I can clearly see that they mess it up. But with a blind with a blind person like this character, Donnie Yen just really knows how to do it. Like if he can do that, then I want to see how he could like handle playing an autistic person. Like that would be interesting. But yeah, Donnie Yen is also badass. And Clancy Brown, you may know him as Mr. Krabs, but I say he is far better in this movie than he is as Mr. Krabs because Mr. Krabs is the worst sponsored character ever. I hate Mr. Krabs with a burning passion. But yeah, I don't want to talk about like talk too much about SpongeBob. And then you got Bill Skarsgård, who is literally Bill Skarsgård, who is literally the best villain in the franchise alongside Aries, Ruby Rose's character from John Wick Chapter 2. Yeah, I mean, Marquez is such a threatening villain, such a ruthless villain. Yeah, sure, he doesn't really fight, but he's just so manipulative, he's so evil, and he really shows it. And Bill Skarsgård gives his best performances Pennywise. There was one scene with his character where you notice him like making this Pennywise smile to him, and wow. So yeah, and also here, and also the Japanese guy, Hiroyuki Sanda is such an underrated character. I personally prefer him in Bullet Train, but yeah, he really does feel like his Bullet Train character. But I really liked him either way. And and then now let's talk about the other two action sequences. One is with Scott Adkins who actually looks like Kingpin but with hair basically. He looks like Kingpin but if Kingpin has hair basically. And Scott Adkins party like action scene. I would say that is the weakest action scene in the film it feels like the action scenes because that action scene has been done before with the first two John Wick movies, but I think out of all the party fight scenes, the party brawl fight scenes, this one did the best, and it has the most banger music. And yeah, I love that scene. And then we get to the Paris fight scene, aka the climax. And wow, I mean, that action scene literally lasted up for an hour, like almost just as long as the end game final battle, like in length, of course. And it feels really epic. I mean, you literally got the Arc de Triomphe, car chase scene, and you got John Wick trying to run up the stairs, and then you got the abandoned house fight scene, which yeah, but there was one moment during the abandoned house shootout scene it actually had this one shot take. There's a scene that was shot with a drone flying on the roof of the abandoned house, and with that shot you can clearly see John Wick trying to go in room to room, like running and finding the bad guys, and then going in different rooms, and then the drone would follow John Wick. Yeah, that is a one shot take. That is a one shot take sequence, and those I never mentioned this, but I am a huge fan of one shot takes. I mean, I would have liked if 1917 had some cuts to it, I would have liked the movie a bit less than I initially did. And also Birdman nails it with the one shot take with the entire movie. And there's also certain other scenes where they use a one shot take, but out of all of them, this is probably my favorite of the one shot take sequences, because they do it in such a unique way, and such a mind blowing way. And yeah Okay, well, I'm not sure if there were like some things I forgot to mention. I will say that the plot, no, the music is an absolute banger. I love the music. It's so memorable, especially in the Osaka sequence. Oh yeah, also the post credit scene as well. One of my favorite post credit scenes. I mean, the post credit scene leaves you with a question. leads you the question: did this really happen? It's very similar to Inception. With it ends with the people asking, with something where audiences still to this day ask this question: did this really happen? Did this really happen? And yeah, that's what happens in the post credit scene. The only difference is the post credit scene is simpler, and there's a possibility that it could be answered in the future if this happened or not. Like, since we may be getting spin-offs to this certain character, like I just said earlier, I don't want this spin-off, but yeah. And yeah, and also Keanu Reeves gives his best performance in his entire career. I think this might have surpassed The Matrix as the best Keanu Reeves movie. So overall, John Wick Chapter 4 is easily the best film in the John Wick franchise, and I think it's an understatement because no other John Wick movies come close to this one. This movie works on so many levels because it absolutely justifies its 3 hour runtime. Not a single scene in this movie drags, and it never gets boring. Once this movie is filled with such adrenaline action scenes that were all just so entertaining. And that's some of the best action scenes I have ever seen put to film. Period. It's bloody, it's violent, it's ruthless, and all. John Wick is at his best, and also it has the best supporting characters that makes you feel that makes you care about them like even more, and not a single actor gets left behind, and yeah and while this is the conclusion to the main John Wick franchises, John Wick definitely deserves a spin-off movies. Like, we're already getting a Ballerina, which I'm pretty sure that Ballerina spin-off will could destroy this as the best John Wick movie, because you literally got Andy Armas in this movie. That is an absolute W already. I want the Sophia's a spin-off of Sophia's character, Halle Berry's character in the first in John Wick Chapter 3, and I certainly wanted an Akira spin-off like this one. Now I know I know it's gonna have something to do with Akira and Yen's character Kane. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's gonna be the rivalries between them. People might want Kane to be the main character, but I think Akira should be the main character. But yeah, this franchise needs spin-offs, and I'd be here for that. But yeah, it's been a really nice journey with this consistent franchises, and this is in my top 3 favorite action franchises of all time. Period. So yeah, and yeah, while this isn't my favorite movie of the year so far, like what everyone else says, I mean, it's still definitely one of them, and I'd be shocked if this doesn't make my top 10 favorite movies of 2023 years, but I'll be sure to make sure that this movie can make my top 10 movies of the year list, because it certainly deserves it. Maybe on rewatch, I'll put this higher in the list, but I don't know if I mentioned this already, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but yeah, anyway, with that said, I'm gonna give John Wick Chapter 4 10 out of 10. So also for my review of John Wick Chapter 4, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you think that this is the best John Wick movie ever made? If you haven't seen John Wick 4 yet, please go see it. It's one of the best theatrical experiences for an action movie, and this completely solidifies action as the best genre in my opinion. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for a major video that I'll be doing, and also my ranking, and also a ranking of all 4 John Wick movies as a YouTube short. So yeah, bye guys.